What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check this out, man. I like to start off with some things I find on the internet, on Facebook, basically, that you should know, man. Check this out right here. Let me see if it's gonna start right from the beginning. It always start, man. Facebook gotta get their thing together. It always start muted and you can't rewind. So here we go. Here we go.
Chick-fil-A's designed for addiction. This was highly intentional.
Talking about the cell phone.
In its settings tells you how far it has to be off of your body to prevent cancer. It tells you if you go to your settings to general, you scroll all the way down to legal and regulatory. Who knew this was in the BOWs? Do you see it?
I'm in it.
Legal and regulatory, click it. The very bottom one says RF exposure. That stands for radio frequency exposure.
Radio frequency.
And then it tells you, mine is on the second paragraph. This must be 5 millimeter separation off of your body. It's about a pencil eraser. So they're covered when you get brain cancer because you put your phone to your head.
I always speak on speakerphone.
You bet you do. Distance is your friend with radio frequency, with electromagnetic fields. But they just came out with a study. It just literally, the further this is away from you, the better. We're seeing a higher rate of testicular cancer on young men because they put their phone. Get your phone out of your pocket. Get it away from your testicles.
That's crazy.
Yes. So back when these were smaller and women put them in their breast, we saw breast cancers the shape of that lithium battery in there. This is radioactive. So you get it off your person. You speak on speakerphone with it, right? You don't put it up your head. You for sure don't have it on your head driving down a road in a metal tube where it's having to work super hard to find a cell signal. So it's putting out more electromagnetic fields. This is a big deal. This was designed. You think Chick-fil-A's designed?
Y'all hear that, man? I thought that was very interesting. I don't know how much truth it has, but I've been hearing a lot of people catching cancer and different things because of these cell phones, man. And they have to put more powerful batteries in them because they are smartphones now. You feel me? So I just thought I'd share that with y'all before we get into this. Diddy Trial headed to Mistrial after jury refused. What's up with jury 25, man? He is refusing to follow the jurors' instructions. Man, this ain't good. He might have got to somebody. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We are live, and I see my buddy Jamie. Wait a minute. Hey Jamie, how you doing? Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy. Yeah.
Federal courtroom in New York. Okay. So things just exploded inside the federal courtroom in New York. It's day 32 of the U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs. And right as the jury starts deliberating, boom, a note drops that flips everything. Apparently, one of the jurors, juror number 25, is refusing to follow the judge's instructions. Yes, seriously. This could completely derail one of the biggest trials we have seen in years. So what's going on behind closed doors? What does this mean for Diddy? And how bad is it really? Stick around, guys, because I have the entire breakdown.
Okay.
So it's June 30th. After nearly 2 months, guys, 2 months of court, 28 days of testimony, 34 witnesses, the jury's finally handed the case. Their job? Decide if Diddy's guilty of racketeering, sex trafficking, and moving people across state lines for prostitution. Huge stuff that could put him away for life in prison. So this morning, Judge Aaron Sobramian spends more than 2 hours walking the jury through the legal instructions. Basically, it's a rule book on how to weigh all the evidence. But by 11:30 a.m., the 12 jurors, 8 men and 4 women, they headed into the deliberation room to, go over everything and decide the case. But then at 11:48, the first note comes in. Juror number 5 is named foreperson. He's a 31-year-old investment analyst from Connecticut. Pretty buttoned up guy, okay? Everyone thinks, cool, things are rolling along smoothly. But then it gets messy. At 1:25 p.m., barely an hour later, the foreperson sends another note. And this one's a bombshell. Quote, "We have a juror, number 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your honor's instructions." Yeah, that's not what you want to hear on day 1 of deliberations. Now the judge has to figure this out. Is the juror just confused or straight up refusing to play by the rules? So who is this guy? Juror number 25 is a 51-year-old scientist. He's got a PhD in molecular biology and neuroscience, loves opera and nature documentaries. Smart dude. But during jury selection, he admitted he'd already seen the 2016 hotel video. Yeah, the one with Diddy chasing Cassie down the hallway, kicking her, beating her, all of that. But he said that he could still be fair and that he could weigh both sides of the argument, that didn't really cloud his judgment in this whole case. But now his fellow jurors are flagging him as a problem. The note doesn't explain what he's doing, just that it's enough to raise concern. And that vagueness, it is setting off alarms all across social media. I'm sure all in that courtroom and everywhere you can think. Like, people are really trying to figure out, like, how did they get to that conclusion so fast? Is he being defiant? Is he being ornery? Like, for them to send a note to the judge this quickly, something is really, really wrong in that room. Now, after this, the courtroom goes into overdrive. Prosecutors want to follow up immediately. They suggest sending a detailed note asking whether Juror 25 is just confused or actively ignoring the law. Their draft is long and loaded with legal jargon. But Diddy's lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, he pushes back. He's like, hold up. It's way too soon to start dissecting the jury's process. That could mess everything up. Now, I'm not sure why he would do this, because it could be in his favor to call this out. So something is not really going on right to me. Again, this whole case, every time I dissect, every time I think I know where things are headed, something new happens that completely throws me off. The defense wants to keep it simple. Basically, just tell them, hey, keep going. Like, literally, ignore the note, just keep going. And he's ignoring the jury instructions. But the judge steps in and says, enough, figure it out together. 10 minutes. That's what he gives them, 10 minutes to figure it out. So by 2 p.m., they land on a compromise. The judge sends a neutral message. I received your note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and obligation to follow my instruction on the law. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating. So essentially, listen, tough it out, figure it out. I'm not dealing with this right now. There's no mention of juror number 25. No drama. Just a reminder and a warning. Don't send any more notes with inside details from that jury room. Just do your job. So why is this a big deal? Now, if this feels like a small hiccup, I want you to trust me when I say it's not. In a case this massive, all 12 jurors need to fully agree on every count. If even one person refuses to play ball, that's a hung jury. No verdict. Months of work and millions of dollars wasted. Victims will be re-traumatized. Diddy's fate is left dangling. And let's not forget the timing. It's June 30th. 4th of July is right around the corner. It's this weekend. 4-day weekend. The court is closed July 3rd and 4th. These jurors have already given up their summer, Memorial Day included. They're sitting in sweltering heat, and now they're staring down a long weekend. That pressure to wrap things up is very, very real. Analysts say holidays like this can push juries towards rushing towards a consensus just to get out of there because they don't want to do it anymore. But if one juror is digging in their heels, that gets a lot harder. And I would assume if it's this one juror frustrated them to the point that they had to send a note to the judge, things are crazy ugly in that room already. And that juror must be holding out for something. We don't know what. So that begs the question, what's up with juror number 25? I mean, honestly, like I said, we don't know exactly. The note doesn't spell it out. Maybe he's just lost in the legal language. Racketeering, guys, it's a beast. It involves proving at least 2 criminal acts tied to an organized scheme. Maybe he's stuck on Cassie's video. He made it seem like, it made an impression on him. Maybe it's clouding his judgment. Or maybe he's just clashing with the rest of the jury. Things get heated during deliberations, especially with the kind of testimony we've heard from Cassie, Jane Doe, detailing alleged abuse, control, coercion. The prosecution paints Diddy as a criminal kingpin. The defense says it's all wild, but consensual. Juror 25 could be struggling to reconcile those two pictures. Now remember, this isn't the first juror drama. This trial's already had its share of juror issues. Early in June, juror number 6 was removed for lying about where he lived. He claimed that he lived in the Bronx, but he'd actually moved to New Jersey, making him ineligible. Diddy's team fought hard to keep him. He was one of only 2 black men on the panel, and they argued that his removal hurt the jury's diversity. But the judge said nope, and they let a white alternate step in his place. That caused tension. And now with Juror 25 under scrutiny, things are even more delicate. If he's removed, they'd have to bring back one of 5 alternates who were just dismissed this morning. It's a total logistical nightmare. It's a mess. The stakes couldn't be higher. And here's a quick refresher of the charges that Diddy is facing. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors say he ran a criminal enterprise. If convicted, he will get life. Counts 2 and 3, sex trafficking. Did he coerce Cassie and Jane into sex acts? Each one also carries a life sentence. Counts 4 and 5, transporting for prostitution, basically arranging travel for sex. Each count can get up to 10 years. The defense is pushing hard to reframe it all as consensual, adult behavior. They're also pointing fingers at the accusers, especially Cassie, arguing she has financial motives since she filed a civil lawsuit too. But bottom line, juror number 25's vote matters, and it matters a lot. So what happens now? Well, the jury is still deliberating, and juror 25 is still in the room. The judge's note was a gentle nudge, I will say. But if things don't smooth out, we might see the judge interview juror 25 one-on-one. If it turns out that he isn't willing or able to follow the law, he could get booted. If not, the jury stays deadlocked. We could be headed for a mistrial. And if they do reach a verdict, you better believe the world is going to be watching. Either way, there's going to be eruption everywhere, especially on social media. Guys, this trial's been wild. And the latest juror drama just adds another twist. But what do you think is going to happen with juror 25? Will they be deadlocked? Is he stuck on that Cassie video, just not vibing with the legal instructions? Or maybe he's just standing up for something that the others aren't seeing? Drop your thoughts. Let me know your comments because I want to hear what you think. What is going on? This case is wild. But also, guys, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button and the notification bell because as soon as we get more information, I will be breaking it down and letting you know exactly. In today's video.
Oops. Yeah, she's going to be breaking it down. I didn't mean to click on it, but I don't know. This is 2 days ago. All right, let's check this one out real quick.
We're pulling back the curtain on the one place cameras can't go. The deliberation room. Because what if Diddy's flashy lawyer, his silence on the stand, and his modern love story defense aren't just risky, but actually offensive? We're breaking down how jurors might be reacting right now and why some of his boldest moves could blow up in his face. Let's start with the most stunning choice of the entire trial. Diddy's team calling 0 witnesses, not a friend, not a colleague, not even a bodyguard or ex-girlfriend to say, he's a good man. Think about that. The government spent 6 weeks laying out damning testimony. Cassie, former employees, alleged victims, all telling the same disturbing story. And how does Diddy respond? Not with evidence, not with alibis, but with silence. Now his lawyer wants the jury to see this as strength. We didn't need witnesses because the government failed to prove their case. That's what they're implying. But to jurors, especially middle-aged moms and older women, this might read very differently. It might scream cowardice, like Diddy knew that if anyone took the stand, it would unravel. Let's talk about what might be the most tone-deaf moment of this entire circus.
You got to remember, if somebody take the stand, they can do cross-examination and ask them, and you can't lie on the oath. Think about that. That's why nobody took the stand.
Diddy's lawyers called the relationship with Cassie Ventura a modern love story. Yes. A modern love story, y'all. After prosecutors detailed years of grooming, emotional manipulation, forced drug use, and a brutal 2016 hotel incident, his lawyer said this is just a complicated romance. That's not just offensive, it's dangerous because jurors aren't just hearing legal jargon. They're feeling things. They're putting themselves in the victim's shoes. And for any juror who's survived abuse or who knows someone who has, this could be the moment where they snap inside and say, nope, I'm done, guilty. And to think a modern love story, when we're talking about freak-offs weekly, that lasts for days, where she's getting peed in the mouth, where she has mouth sores, can't swallow, vaginal infections that are so bad and so prolonged that antibiotics don't work on them anymore. Then he's beating her every other day. Like, really, what was modern about this? It's deranged. And let's not forget how the defense mocked the government's case, even making jokes in the courtroom. They called the charges a fantasy and ridiculed accusers, and then implied that Diddy was just a misunderstood rock star living a wild, consensual swinger lifestyle. But here's what the attitude misses. Juries don't like arrogance. If you act smug, if you minimize trauma, if you sneer while describing a woman crying in a hotel room after you beat her, jurors remember that, especially the quiet ones in the back who haven't said much during voir dire. They're watching you and they're asking, if this guy is innocent, why is his lawyer treating this like a stand-up routine? Why didn't they put up a defense? It's not just about the evidence. It's about tone, about the defense's tone. They might have just sealed their client's fate by doing all of this. One of the quietest but loudest signals to the jury was what the defense didn't address. They never seriously rebutted the hotel incident with Cassie. They barely touched the allegations about Kid Cudi's car being blown up. They offered no real alternative explanations for key events. And while the prosecution, amended some of the jury instructions for some of the charges like the arson and kidnapping, the stories behind those things, those charges still are glaring. You know what this smells like to jurors? He did it. They just couldn't prove it all. It's a psychological trap. Even when the charges or part of it is gone, the narrative remains. And when the defense doesn't even fight back, the jurors are seeing that and they're most likely going to believe it's true. Now let's talk about what just hit outside the courtroom, because this could influence the jury whether the judge likes it or not. Just as the criminal trial was reaching its final stage, a new civil lawsuit dropped like a nuclear bomb. It accuses both Diddy and his son Justin of participating in a mass gang rape, I'll call it, in Los Angeles in 2017. Graphic, chilling, similar in pattern to previous claims. Now, technically, jurors aren't supposed to consider outside allegations, but in the real world, they hear things. Bailiffs talk, headlines leak into conversations. Jurors go home, turn on the TV. They try not to look, but they see it everywhere. This adds a sense of ongoing threat. It's no longer just a case about the past. It's about what Diddy might still be doing and continuing to do in the future. Does anyone think Diddy is changing? They heard testimony, guys. Remember, when Diddy was arrested in that hotel room in New York City, what was testified to by the HSI agent? They found him in a hotel room with freak-off paraphernalia, baby oil, lots of baby oil, bags of it, Astroglide lubricant, drugs. He was literally either he just had a freak off or was preparing for a freak off right when he was arrested. So even though he was under indictment investigation, even though Cassie's lawsuit came out, all of this is going on. The video of him beating Cassie, and he is still up to the moment of his arrest doing these freak offs. Like something is wrong with this dude. And another underrated element, how Diddy looks in court. He's calm, too calm, relaxed, almost defiant, smiling, nodding to the jury, nodding to the witnesses. Now, those optics do not look good. They don't make you look innocent. And the jury is not going to like that. Think about it. The jurors who saw Cassie and other women crying on the stand, it might look like that he just doesn't care. Like he thinks he's above the law. Like he's got friends in high places and he knows he's protected. And you better believe that jurors will notice the contrast, the victim sobbing, and then Diddy, the defendant, smirking, nodding, laughing. That is not a good look at all.
Not at all.
Now let's break this down demographically. If the jury includes older women, they're more likely to empathize with Cassie and other accusers, especially Cassie's mother, who it is alleged that Diddy blackmailed, that if he didn't have her parents pay $20,000 to him, that he was going to leak her freak off tapes. A lot of people are forgetting that. Like the horror that would be for a parent. And any older person, especially older woman, is going to be appalled. Her mother testified about how they had to take a second mortgage on their home just to get $20,000 to pay off this man who was abusing their daughter, sexually exploiting her and holding this blackmail over her head. Is no one understanding how bad that actually looks? What reason would Cassie's mother have to lie? The evidence was provided. She had to mortgage her home in order to do this. Text messages, emails show that he was extorting them for this. It's beyond deranged. Now, there could be young men on the jury. Maybe they're more open to this lifestyle defense, but not if it seems predatory. Yes, they may be more empathetic towards Diddy, thinking that, these hoes ain't loyal, the women lie, they're just trying to get a check, they're trying to get cash. But that only holds up under so much. At some point, even if you are wanting to believe the man, believing that women are scamming and lying, when you see this evidence, when you hear the graphic details, when you see all of these different people who are employees, men and women, claiming what Diddy has done, a lot of those young men are not going to just let that go easily. And like I told you, some of those jurors are parents. They're watching how Diddy and his family and what happened. They're realizing Cassie was fresh out of high school when this man groomed her, got her hooked on drugs, had her doing these freak offs, things Cassie had never done before. People testified this was not Cassie, that she became this person with Diddy. And he continues to be that person to this day. While he talked about doing rehab, they found drugs in his hotel room while he was preparing or just finished doing a freak off during his arrest. So all this rehab talk and all of, it was passion in a swinger lifestyle is ridiculous. And if you think about your daughter being Cassie, and again, playing on the mother who came in there to testify, this is not looking good. And I know a lot of jurors are questioning him or giving him the side eye because it's pretty gross. The final verdict may come down to who dominates that room. If 2 or 3 jurors feel strongly that this was abuse, those emotions can shift the entire dynamic, especially over multiple days of deliberation. The verdict could still go either way, but here's what no one is saying. Everyone is talking about the charges. Everyone is talking about the lawyers. But what no one is talking about, guys, is how emotionally drained this jury must be. I'm emotionally drained. And how that fatigue could play into Diddy's hands. Or it could break him completely. If they're exhausted, confused, and overwhelmed, they might just cave to pressure and go for, some type of compromising verdict, some type of compromise. Something like, he's guilty on one count, but not guilty on others. But if there's just 1 or 2 jurors that are fiery and convinced and disgusted by what they saw, it could swing toward full conviction. He can get guilty on all charges, because here's the truth. This isn't just a trial about a man. Okay. We know that it's a referendum on celebrity power, sexual violence, and whether the justice system still works. The jury isn't just deciding Diddy's fate. They're sending a message to every victim, every celebrity abuser, every enabler in Hollywood who thought the rules didn't apply to them. So what will they say? And more importantly, I think this is the thing we need to think about. What will you believe when the verdict drops? Because whether Diddy gets convicted on 1 charge, 2 charges, or the whole thing, or he goes completely free, I think the court of public opinion really matters the most, because I think Diddy's finished either way, living some public life. Finished. The lawsuits alone are going to bankrupt him. I mean, he's cooked. No one's going to do business with him anymore. It's too risky. Right now, he can slide in and be a silent partner in different things, but the truth will come out. But what really matters is what we think. What do you say? Leave a comment below. Where are you feeling the jury's going to lean? Now, of course, it's probably where you are leaning. But if you just take a lens and just think, if you were in that room, the things you saw, you don't know all the things going on outside the courtroom. You may have heard of some things here and there, or maybe you didn't. But you're just focusing on this case, what happened in that courtroom. What would you decide? Let me know, guys. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys very shortly.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I really don't think that somebody can actually 100% find him not guilty on everything. If they sat in that courtroom, we getting bits and pieces of the stuff. If they sat in that courtroom, there's no way. That's how I feel. Just telling you how Uncle Mike feel. Now, I couldn't be part of the jury because I seen the Cassie tape. So I don't care what they said. I don't care what the lawyers do. Diddy guilty. I seen it. I seen the tape. You guilty. So whatever Cassie said you did, you done. So you finished. And the other girl. So that's one count. You're already going to jail. You need to serve some time for beating that girl up like that. And then trying to get the tapes back so nobody will see it. Covering up what you did. You need to do some time for that. That's beyond a reasonable doubt right there. So after that, now all the other stuff and using the bathroom in her mouth and did she want it, or she laid on the floor and took the urine in the throat. So I mean, that's all 50-50. She could have been down with it at that time and not down with it another time, whatever. But you don't put your hands on nobody, period. Man or female. Now you got another court case coming. You got somebody in jail been fighting. This man that dropped over 200 different pages of paperwork, 200 different times to try to get out because he know he innocent. You got people coming out. Oh man, it's just so much, man. It's so much. So we're gonna wait and see. Then he ain't got a nerve to not even bring nobody up. He brought that near person up because of cross-examination. Because whoever you bring up, they gonna be asked questions from both sides, cousin. Anyway, man, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We're live while we doing our reactions today. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Let me know what y'all think. Hey, shout out to all my enders. Take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.